Board of Directors to order. The first thing we have to do is take attendance. Larry Schwartz is here.
Tony Stuckel's here.
And Leanne Hansen's here.
Alana Rarick is here with a microphone.
Dandy. The next order of business is to approve the order of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to do that.
So moved.
I will also ask for a second.
I will second.
All those in favor of approving the order of the agenda, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Any public comment sign up?
None.
All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make such a motion.
I'll second.
There's been the motion to approve the consent agenda has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to the regular agenda. There is no old business. There is a fair amount of new business. The first action item is to approve the updated board bylaws with added treasurer role description. I'll entertain a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to approve the new bylaws.
A second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion of the updated board bylaws with the added treasurer role description? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor of approving the updated board bylaws, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The updated board bylaws with the added treasurer role description have been approved. Next item is to approve the updated meeting room public policy. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion of the updated meeting room policy? Jenna, could you tell us a little bit about that before we move on to the vote?
Sure. So, as you know, we have meeting rooms and study rooms available for reservation by the public. This was updated to give priority to West Fargo residents and West Fargo groups. As you've noticed, I'm sure in recent board meetings, we've talked about how our meeting room reservations have really increased. In fact, this year we're on track to double our meeting room reservations from last year. So with that in mind, we wanted to ensure that West Fargo residents have the priority for those spaces. We also changed the language a little bit so that any meetings open to the public should be politically neutral and free of commercial activities. So for example, somebody's not having an Avon event or something trying to sell items for a business. We also aligned the language in this policy to be updated so it matches what we did in our child and vulnerable adult safety policy recently.
Any questions for Jenna? Hearing none, I'll move on to the vote. All those in favor of the updated meeting room policy, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The updated meeting room policy has been approved. I will entertain a motion now to approve the new notary public policy.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
The notary public policy has been moved and seconded. Any questions, discussion? I think it's keen. Because, you can never find a notary public when you need one.
No, it seems to follow North Dakota guidelines and law, so.
Okay. Thanks for this, Jenna. All those in favor of approving the new notary public policy, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that has been adopted and approved. The next is to approve the updated exhibit policy. I will entertain a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Dandy, the updated exhibit policy has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Jenna, could you provide us with some background on that, please?
This is a policy that we haven't taken a look at since 2013. And so it was time, specifically with us now being more intentional about scheduling different artists' work to be on display in our activity hallway upstairs. So we took a look at this one as well as the waiver of liability. Both were attached in your board packet. This just really clarifies the intention of the exhibits being artistic in nature and appropriate to general audiences.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor of the approved updated exhibit policy, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dandy. Jenna, is there any space in the new space for artwork display? Could there be?
I think that's something we can explore once we see for sure how the construction and fit up with new shelving is going to go. I think the priority really is on collection space
Okay.
In that location, but definitely open to exhibits if we have room.
Okay, thank you. The budget update. Jenna.
You. So on Monday, the city commission met to approve the city's preliminary budget. Our preliminary budget was included in that and approved for a 0.8 mill levy increase from the 8.4 mills that we had for fiscal year 24. So this means a 9.2 mill levy overall. You may recall that when you approved our preliminary budget, the total ask was for a 10.15 mill levy. So what has happened in the meantime is just prior to the preliminary budget approval in that same meeting, the capital improvement plan was presented again for the second time and passed. Included in the capital improvement plan was $150,000 for flooring replacement at the public library here. So that flooring replacement is still reflected in our budget in the capital improvements line because it will be a 2025 expense. However, it will be paid for with capital improvement sales tax dollars and not out of our expense budget, if that makes sense. Additionally, Administrator Scott requested that we remove the fit up and construction costs for our second site from our preliminary budget for 2025 and instead bring that forward as a separate ask this year at the next city commission meeting. So I gave a tentative okay for that with the understanding that my board has not approved this yet. But we had talked about it coming forth to the commission as a separate ask to be paid for either by capital improvement sales tax funds or something else. So I felt okay about it being presented in that manner. So with those two big asks pulled out, then it does bring our overall budget ask down to the 9.2 mills, which we would be at with that 0.8 mill levy increase that was approved at that meeting. That is also inclusive of a 4% cost of living increase for staff members. That is not set or even really had any discussion yet. They were really setting the ceiling in their preliminary budget for the city, much like we do with ours. So I'm sure there's more to come on that. All departments were asked to look for additional cuts, and we will continue working on that as well. So for transparency and to kind of clean this up, since this is what we had approved for our preliminary budget, and now there's been a couple minor changes. I would recommend the board moves to remove the fit up and construction costs from for the second site from our fiscal year 25 capital improvement line in our preliminary budget, pending the approval of city commission to fund this with city finances. So taking the fit up and construction out of our preliminary budget, pending approval of the city financing that otherwise.
Is this meeting the appropriate time to do that, or should we wait?
I think yes, because it is also sort of giving me permission to then bring that request to the commission on behalf of the board. And then if when it is approved, we already have the approval to take that out of our preliminary budget.
All right,
And
I
then
will.
we'll work on our final budget for approval later in the fall.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to remove the fit up and construction costs from the preliminary budget
Pending approval.
pending
Of-
approval, yes, of the city budget.
I'll make the motion in that manner.
I will ask for a second so that we can discuss this.
Oops. I'll second that.
Okay, thanks. Removing the fit up and construction costs from the preliminary budget has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Do you think, I think this will help in the long run of just maintaining a steady mill ask for future budgets. So I just want to put that on the record that I think it's a good thought that way.
Thank you.
If I could inject one other thing, I would also like to note that the Friends of the Library approved $15,000 towards fit up expenses at their last meeting, pending approval of the city for the rest.
Well, that's dandy. I would like to go on the record as thanking our friends of the library for doing that. Anything else? Any other discussion of this? All those in favor of removing the fit up and construction costs from the preliminary budget pending approval of the city budget, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Anything else for the budget update, Jenna?
Nope.
Then it's your turn for the director's report, which looks great.
Okay. Are you seeing my director's report?
I am.
Mhm.
Fantastic. So we have had a bit of excitement in the building with regard to the air conditioning lately. The air conditioning unit that cools the third floor, so our activity hallway where our meeting rooms and offices are, has completely died. The school has contracted someone to replace it. They are looking for that replacement. We do not have a timeline on when it will be fixed. So the cooler weather the last day or two has been much appreciated. We've been able to open windows. Currently, we have a train of fans down the hallway to try to move air and keep our rooms cool for our end of summer programs for youth and book clubs, and also for our staff workspaces. Separate from that issue, there's additional HVAC work being done in this building. This building was built by the WPA a long time ago, and it's an older building. It just has a lot of work that needs to be done. So one of the things they've been working on is the HVAC for the main part of the library, where we've had some leaking in the past over the large print and audiobook section by that south window. So they're replacing all the units above that as well as the roofing. The roofing is finished. And now they're working on some of the piping interior of the building. So next week, starting on the 12th, we expect a couple very noisy days as they're drilling through cement walls to run some new piping. And the week of the 19th, they will be then running the piping all the way across in front of that big south window. So there will be a lift in the space for a few days and some additional noise. We're going to try to keep the disruption to a minimum, just clearing the furniture out of that space so they have some room to work. And people will still be able to get in and out of the library and use our services, but it'll be a little noisier than usual for a while. But in the long run, good and needed fixes. Our finances, we are right on track for the year. 58% expended year to date. Staffing, we just had one of our part-time assistants leave for a very exciting life change. So we wish her and her family the best with that. And we finished the interview process to fill that part-time assistant position. We expect our new staff member to join us in just a couple weeks. Our circulation is fantastic. We're up 15% from this time last year. If you took a peek at the impact reports that were shared attached in your board materials, we're just consistently riding higher each year. It's fun to see that number. I hope you never get sick of me saying circulation broke new records every time we meet. Adult Services has had some great programs lately. They're up 22% in attendance so far this year when compared to last year. We had another puzzle competition in June, and these continue to be very popular and lots of interest. So we'll be having another one of those in December. Youth Services continues to hit a home run and knock it out of the ballpark. We've had a 43.9% increase in attendance from last year, and last year was great too. And I got to tell you, those youth services folks are getting a little tired now. At the end of the summer, we've had to refresh supplies that they didn't think that they were going to run out of. So it's wonderful to see our hallways and meeting rooms filled with all of these kids and families participating in the library. That's huge. 43.9% increase. Amazing. Storytime continues to be outstanding. And our Summer Boost Reading Challenge just ended about a week ago. We had twice as many littles participate this year in that 0 to 5 range. That's really exciting for me. We know that those first years are when 90% of their brain development happens. And so the fact that we have families really engaged in reading with their kids speaks volumes for the future of West Fargo. Very exciting. Our technical services team has been very busy as well. We have a few sections when we met last month at our board training meeting that I showed you were full. And so we've moved our magazines onto these taller upright stands to save some floor space and open up some shelving for other collections to spread out a little bit. So the magazines have moved. Adult fiction, we have finished shifting that as well. So we're ready to take down one row of shelving to use downstairs to spread out the large print now. So that's the next step in that project. Junior level biographies have been moved to the 920s in nonfiction to make them easier to find. Previously, they were kind of spread around. So this makes a lot more sense to have the biographies with the biographies. Adult fiction has, oh, I told you that has been shifted. So Once we get that range from adult fiction pulled out, we'll be putting in some tables and chairs there to create a seating and workspace to mirror what's happening on the nonfiction side. Those are some of our most popular workspaces in the library. There's always somebody sitting there. Recent programming and outreach. We had a really fun Oregon Trail themed escape room that happened recently. Got rave reviews about that. Craft and STEM programs have been full every week. The Little Red Reading Bus has been really popular as well this summer. In the impact report, you'll see that our outreach numbers are down a little bit. We have had several outreach events rained out this summer. So I think those numbers are reflective of that. And speaking of the Little Red Reading Bus, we are ready to bid it farewell. So our end of summer celebration will be on Tuesday, the 13th, next week from 5 to 7 p.m. I would particularly encourage our board members to come at 5:30. That's when we'll have a little final farewell to the bus, thank our donors, and unveil the new van, which is just being finished vinyl wrapping right now.
We should show up at the plaza.
Yes, at the Palmia Plaza on Cheyenne Street.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll take any questions that the board might have.
Any questions for Jenna?
Sorry,
I'd
I already
like
shot mine.
I'd just like to offer praise to Jenna and to the staff for being the best darn public library in North Dakota.
Here, here.
Yeah, I concur. Amazing work.
I will share that with our staff members. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Then it falls upon me to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Guess I'll make the second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Bye.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. The next meeting is on the 12th of September. So,
Okay.
Oh, if I can insert something. If you didn't watch the preliminary budget meeting on Monday, there was one of our teen volunteers came and spoke on behalf of the library during the public comment period. It was really sweet. I would encourage you to watch
Okay.
it.
I had prepared a statement, but I forgot to sign up to speak in front of the board. So I emailed that to Commissioner Dardis, and I will email that to all of you using the official email thing. That'll happen shortly, but
Okay.
so all right. Thanks, guys.
All
I will
right.
see you
Sounds
next
good.
month or around.
All right.
Okay. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.